Hey everybody, welcome back. So here's what's really interesting. So there's been a lot of doom and gloomers out there, and what they're saying historically is that, oh, our market is crashing. Oh my gosh, since 2020, things are going to just go down. Then, they had the reprieve, and then they said, oh my gosh, interest rates have gone up, market's going to crash. And it has never happened. It has yet to happen. They said there's a shadow inventory of foreclosures that is just going to decimate real estate. That hasn't happened either. And you know what? Since 2007, we've been pretty darn accurate, like almost 100%, almost not quite. So stay with us. Make sure that guess what? Here we go. Let's put that up there. Smash that subscribe button. Make sure that you like and share this. Hey, look, if you're looking for really solid information to make the best business decision for when the time is right, look, you got to subscribe. Our goal is to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of next month. So please let us know what you like and make sure that you're asking those questions, because we get back to you in about 30 minutes, except for on Sundays. But anyway, there's no strings attached. There's no marketing. There's no selling. It's just good, solid information. All right. So let's get the show on the road. We're going to prove a little bit of what we're talking about. And let's start off with the basic metrics that we go over each and every week. Now, remember, this is for single family homes in the Northwest MLS. It's not nationwide, although we're going to talk about a Redfin report on a nationwide report. And then we're going to dial it down to where we're at today in our area. All right. But look at this. So you have 1,000. Let me blow this up for you. We have 1,002 homes that just came on market. Again, the typical Friday bump up. We've been hovering right around 800 homes coming on market. You can see 1,160 pending listings and 845 solds. Now, pay attention to this. This is super important. Since October 15th, minus 1 week, we have consistently seen more pending homes than homes coming on market. In other words, we keep dropping down that inventory level. And in fact, it is that lack of inventory that has, yes, believe it or not, exceeded the perceptions of what mortgage interest rates are, even at 7%. Look, buyers understand it's still a good time and it is still a solid investment. It is a way to control your monthly expense. Rent keeps going up, although there's some reports saying that we bobbled down about 2%. That just depends on what area you're in, because I'll tell you, there's still a lot of rents going up. Go figure. We still have about 1.5 months of inventory when we should be between 4 and 6. As we get closer to the 6 months of inventory, that becomes a buyer's market. Okay, that means that it's not heavily weighted towards the sellers. But if we're only at 1.5 months of inventory, it is definitely weighted towards a seller's market. And that is where we are at still today. We have not changed that, even though our numbers, believe it or not, even with interest rates pinging the 7%, we are still doing better than, yes, last year. Go figure, with less inventory. Now, you may say, George, this sounds a lot like when March of 2020 rolled around and everybody was saying, oh my God, the market's going to crash. Everything's going to go down. And you said, hey, that can't happen. We don't have enough inventory. Prices will maintain. Go back and look at it. Look at April, May, June, July of 2020. They're there. You'll note the message is consistent. So if you want, again, real-time solid information, this is where you get it. All right, let's hit on our next slide. Take a look at this. So when we take a look at this chart, you can see last year, June, we took that great big swing on the left. And then, as you can see this year, it is normal to start, heading in a downward trend for sales and whatnot as we go through the summer. And then, of course, delve right into the winter. But instead of doing this hook, a button hook, we're doing more of a flat, and then we're going to gradually head down. Why? Because, again, we just don't have a ton of inventory. We still have a massive pent-up demand of buyers. Sellers, if you overprice, It's over. Buyers are super smart. Remember, the first impression that a buyer has of your home is price. In fact, there was Carol emailed me yesterday because we'd been contacting her about her house. She says, hey, just want to let you know we went on market. And I looked at it and went, wow, you're like $100,000 overpriced. 15 days later, she came down. Well, okay, she came down $100,000. Still a little bit overpriced based on, well, some unfortunate pictures, but still based on where the market is for her house. And guess what? The buyers are saying no, even with that price reduction. So don't expect a buyer to come in and say, hey, I'm going to offer you more, because they're not going to. They're going to wait until you get down to the price point where the market states that is where your home is at. It doesn't matter what amount of sentimental equity you have in your house. And I do mean sentimental equity. Sentimental equity as a definition, I guess my definition, is the value that you put on your home above market value. Right now, Carol is over $100,000 above market value, or at least she was. She's probably still about $50,000 above where she should be. When she gets down to that point, she will start to see buyers. She'll see showings happen, and then ultimately an offer or offers, depending on the interest level of her home. Anyway, with that being said, take a look at this. When we take a look at our next slide, it talks about Redfin. Let me blow that up for you. Actually, I'm going to go to the next slide here. And even on a national level, it says, look, it says the average sale to list price ratio hit 100.1% during the 4 weeks ending July 2nd. The median home price was only down, you ready for this? $1,000, 0.3 from a year ago. That's on a national level, okay? Then when we take a look at that, it says new listings are down 25% from what they were a year ago, okay? But the lack of supply, the lack of inventory that's out there, even says that the Redfin Homebuyer Demand Index was down slightly a week earlier, but remained near its highest level since May of 2022. Now, take a look at the bottom. It says, well, I guess I got to remove myself there. There we go. It says the entire Northwest MLS, the median sold price for our area, the Northwest MLS is half of Washington State, all right? It says our median sold price in June was $643,000, which was down about 4% from June of 2022. However, if we just look at King County, you can see that the median price for June was $940,000, or up 1.5%. So it depends on what area, but we track pretty heavily Pierce, King, and Snohomish County. We do, for our lenders, track other counties as a courtesy. Those are the main three that we track, because that tells us and gives us, one, our greatest population, and two, it helps us to really define a trend based on the metrics that we track every single day. So what's super interesting, we are above the average, whereas the Northwest MLS as a whole is down a little bit more. But still, $1,000? That's peanuts. Even if we say it's, we're twice that as the Northwest MLS, that's $2,000. Still peanuts. Understand, for buyers that are out there, look, don't be shy, okay? There are ways of accomplishing your goal. And yes, when that median price means, yes, you couldn't buy what you bought at 3%. And that is not going to change. Inventory is not going to change. Why? If we have an average of 13.5 year occupancy rate from purchasing, and we have 33% of the mortgage holders are in the 4% range, and 63% are in the 3 to 4% range as far as interest, and they bought their home within the last 3 to 4 years, guys. That means we have like 10, 11 years to wait before they're going to come on market. That's a long time to wait. So there are other opportunities, there are other things you should look at, including looking at off-market homes, which is another great opportunity to consider. Now, let's move on to our little show here. I don't want this to go too long. If we take a look at what's just happening in our market, you can see that our solds are down, and this is super important to listen to. Look, we're about 12,000 less sold homes year to date. Okay. Our pended month over month for the same time. So June of 2022 versus June of 2023, you can see we were up for pended 4.8%. And we really closed the gap on closing. The biggest impact that it's had is interest rates, which are about 7.14% right now, what we call par pricing. Make sure you watch 5 critical questions to ask when getting quoted mortgage rates. Super important. Don't make those floundering mistakes. That is par pricing. We're going to see a Freddie Mac chart. It's going to give you a slightly different number here. Now, take a look at this. This is new construction. You can see that line is a lot flatter when we look at the dark green. Dark green is what has sold. Light green, that is what is pendent, or that is what is active, okay? Whew. Anyway, dark green, but notice it's not that go down, swing down, and come back up, right? It is basically a lot more level. New construction, year over year, here's what's super important. Let's take a look at this. All right. Now, we already talked about there was a massive disparity on sold homes. That's, available inventory. We take a look at new construction year over year. We're down 7%. 7% equates to, across the entire Northwest MLS, half of Washington State, actually a little more than half, 340 homes. That's it. That's our difference. But we're no longer 10% of the market as far as total inventory available on new construction. Nay. That's like 19, 20%. Builders are super smart. In fact, we're seeing an increase in activity as far as inventory goes, as you can see here. Consistent, although we're starting to balance out where we were at last year. Understand, there are still incentives, and builders are knowing the picking is now for them because there's not enough folks out there that are willing to put their home on the market, and they need to fill that gap. Well, guess what? If you have a vacuum, it will be filled, unless you're in space. Anyway, so that vacuum will be filled regardless, and the builders are doing it. So make sure you're paying attention. Make sure the agent you're working with is very smart in knowing how to get you those best incentives. Price is not what you negotiate. Terms, credits, additional goodies on a house, that is what you negotiate, because a plat needs to maintain its price integrity. And they're less likely to negotiate on price, more likely on terms and other goodies, benefits, things like that you can get on a house. So keep that in mind. All right. If you need questions, give us a call. Anyway, you want to know what to do? There you go. Call or text. All right. So let's move on to the next one. We talk about bank owned. Okay. So when we pop that in, we take a look at this. Look, it's peanuts. We're back up to 52. Yes, we do have to include a couple more agents on the wall of shame, but nonetheless, you can see the numbers here are super small. And if you are asking, is there a little black closet of goodies of foreclosures that are coming out? And the answer is no. Why? Because we have a lot more equity. We have pent-up demand, and that is peanuts. That's, again, half of Washington State, and that is nothing. We were seeing 200 homes a month coming on during the 2008 through 2010, which was insanity, right? But here, we have 52 altogether, and some of those aren't even real. That's nothing. So the lenders that we work with are super happy because there's a lot of different options, including if you are one of those folks, you can get a 40-year mortgage, re-amortize until you can get yourself back on your feet. You may even just keep that payment, but you can re-amortize out to 40 months so you can stay in your home. Great idea. If you have questions, ask us. Make sure that you ask your lender because they have tons of options available to them to keep you in your home. And again, that's another reason you're not going to see these issues. Just saying. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at our next bit of metrics here. The sad news. Sad news is rates did bop up on Thursday, and they came back down just a tad bit on Friday. You can also see that the jumbos, they actually came down. The arms, they vacillated back and forth. Now remember, the feds do not control mortgage rates. They can affect mortgage rates, but they have no control over it. That is a publicly traded thing. Watch your 10-year treasury, and that's why you'll see that, because when the 10-year treasury goes up, mortgage rates follow. When the 10-year treasury comes down, mortgage rates historically follow. It's a good metric to watch, because mortgage rates, tend to follow that pretty close. So keep that in mind. Watch your mortgage-backed securities, watch your bonds. Those things are going to give you a very clear indication. In fact, these are based on the mortgage-backed securities. So if we take a look at Freddie Mac, take a look at this. So Freddie Mac is saying, hey, our par pricing today is 6.81%. That's pretty good. That's better than the over the 7%. But understand, that depends on which mortgage program you're looking at. And remember, you need to watch that video. 5 questions you need to ask when getting quoting mortgage rates, so you know what you're dealing with. Because again, that could be thousands and thousands of dollars of a mistake. Anyway, with that being said, right? If you need to know more information, go to our newsletter and blog page. You can get tips on what to do with your house, things like that. Some really good information. Again, there's no marketing there. It's just solid. What should I do? How should I do it? And prepare myself for when the time is right. And with that, what's going on the rest of July? We've got the Darrington Bluegrass Festival that's coming up. Let me blow that screen up for you. There we go. That's actually going to be on the 21st through the 23rd. Absolutely super fun. I've been out there. It's a real kick in the pants. You have the Lavender Weekend in Sequim, again, the other end of the world. They call it, what is that called? Lavender something, Lavender Stock, I think. It's supposed to be a kickoff of Woodstock. Again, a lot of fun. Do not drink the lavender latte. I did make that mistake. It's pretty entertaining. And then, of course, you have the Raspberry Festival. That's happening, I believe, next weekend also, or 2 weekends from now. But anyway, nope, it is next weekend, the 14th and 15th. Listen, I guess that's actually midweek. No, it's not. That is next weekend. Anyway, with that, if you're looking for some fun, those are some fun things that you can go and do. And remember, smash that subscribe button. Let's have a little bit of fun with this. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of next month. Let's make sure that we're sharing this information so that the algorithm says this is really good information for others. That's all this is, to make the best business decision. Know your options. That's the key thing here. In the meantime, guys, have an absolutely fabulous weekend, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.